Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Tales of Herding Gods based on novel. So let's start. In the sky above the sacrificial altar on the divine mountain in West Earth, flowing light poured forth. After a moment, the eyes of Jing Yang and Yu Liu lighted up when they saw an exquisite-looking youth walking out. His expression was slightly cold, but when his gaze landed on the two maidens, they became secretly bashful. Young Master Shu, Star Sovereign Qiao has ordered us sisters to assist young master in getting rid of the new human emperor. Yao Hua and Qing Ying have gone to Roland's Golden Palace to scout out news of the human emperor. Yu Liu said softly, "Young master, let us go meet up with them now." Xu Shenghua nodded gently and said, "We should settle this matter as soon as possible, since I want to return to high heavens. This mortal world provokes dispute and is not a good place for a long stay." Jing Yang smiled. "Young master, there are some extraordinary and unusual people in this mortal world and they can't be underestimated. The human emperor is the enemy of our high heavens and has been against us for many years, so he won't be eliminated that easily." Xu Shenghua walked down the mountain in his white clothing that was untainted by even a speck of dust. "There are some abnormalities in the mortal world, like Little Jade Capital, Great Thunderclap Monastery, Tao Sect, Heavenly Saint Cult, Middle Earth. Among these sacred grounds, there are experts that are no weaker than West Earth. I won't underestimate them, nor will I underestimate the human emperor. I would like to take a look at the places that scare these existences, but the mortal world doesn't match with my nature, so it's best to return as soon as possible." The two girls immediately caught up to him. "Since I've already come down, I will have to visit all the sacred grounds in Middle Earth," Xu Shenghua said. "I want to see how their divine arts, paths, and skills have developed. Also, the reform of Eternal Peace Empire is like a wildfire, so I will also have to take a look. My master, Jade Sovereign, had sent a disaster on an order and was injured by the saint that appears once every 500 years. I would very much like to see how this saint that appears once every 500 years looks." The two girls looked at each other, worried slightly. In River Prefecture City, an official said in a fluster, when His Highness learned that Cult Master Qin wasn't in any danger, he left to settle affairs in other prefectures. "Which prefecture is he at now?" Ling Yuxiu asked. "His Highness left for Snivel Prefecture, but it was quite some time ago, so I do not know in which prefecture he is at now." Qin Mu nodded and said, "I'll let my cult's disciples scout out news, and I should know where they are soon." After resting in River Prefecture and eating some food to fill their stomachs, Heavenly Devil Cult I came to report. His Highness has reached Bent Prefecture. Qin Mu opened up the geographic map of Eternal Peace and glanced at it. "In that case, the Crown Prince's next destination should be Peaceful Prefecture. His speed is quite fast." Ling Yushu had headed south first and reached River Tomb before going west along Gold River. This should have been to manage the irrigation works along the way. Even though Ling Yushu didn't have the bold and decisive spirit of Emperor Yangfeng, he was quite a professional at handling the irrigation works and transportations in all parts of the empire. With the help of the people from Ministry of Works, his speed was very fast. Furthermore, he was different from the previous Crown Prince Ling Yuxia. He didn't want to snatch authority, and this made Emperor Yangfeng very reassured. With the help of Fan Yunxiao, Ling Yushu's speed was unmatched. When Qin Mu took the two girls to catch up to them, they took half a month to reach it, and Ling Yushu had long left Peaceful Prefecture and reached Mill Prefecture in the west. Mill Prefecture was not far from Great Thunderclap Monastery, some 1,000 miles away. When they reached that place, Ling Yushu finally saw her brother, and her eyes turned red. It was obvious that he had been very exhausted these days and had become much thinner. "Beast Qin didn't do anything to you, right?" Ling Yushu asked her secretly. Ling Yushu was embarrassed and angry as she said while fuming, "Brother, what are you thinking?" Saintess Xiong was also around. Ling Yushu laughed dryly. "Aren't I just worried about your safety? Beast Qin." Ling Yushu gave him a stare. "He's the sacred cult master of Heavenly Devil Cult, and you only took the position of the previous Crown Prince after he killed him. Be careful of him hearing you call him a beast and killing you off as well, leaving me to be the Crown Prince." Lin Yushu became resentful. Protecting a man that isn't even yours yet, and being fierce even to your brother. That's right, Great Thunderclap Monastery is nearby and I've sent orders to retrieve the land of Great Thunderclap Monastery back to the Empire. Since we are close to the monastery, you have to be careful. There have been eminent monks coming to find me to beg. Lin Yushu's gaze flickered. They are asking for the land back. Lin Yushu nodded. The lands of Great Thunderclap Monastery are the best agricultural lands nearby, and since Great Thunderclap Monastery rebelled and plotted to kill the emperor to appoint another emperor, I took back their lands. I didn't eradicate them ruthlessly, yet they keep coming to beg again and again. I'm only out this time to manage the irrigation works and people, but this place will delay me for some time. Just as he was saying that, a clear voice came from outside. Poor monk is here to beg. Lin Yushu didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he walked out. Qin Mu also followed him and saw a thin monk with a wax-yellow face holding onto a devil-subduing alms bowl sitting before them. A few soldiers wanted to carry him away, but couldn't lift him up no matter what. Poor monk will only beg for an alms bowl size of land. May Crown Prince give alms. The monk saw the Crown Prince coming out and lowered his eyelids. Your alms bowl should be the devil-subduing alms bowl of the previous ruler in Great Thunderclap Monastery, right? Lin Yushu sneered. This would be a cult legacy treasure if placed in other sects, and an alms bowl size of land would probably be equal to the territory of Great Thunderclap Monastery, some several hundred miles of land. Monk, you are not ordinary, otherwise, you wouldn't have a cult legacy level treasure with you. At that moment, the monk suddenly saw Qin Mu and raised his eyebrows. Heavenly Devil Cult Master. Qin Mu smiled and acknowledged him, but the monk didn't have a pleasant expression. In the battle at Imperial City's Temple of Heaven, many experts of Great Thunderclap Monastery and Dao sect had died or been severely injured. Many of the top-notch experts were slaughtered by Heavenly Devil Cult, and there were numerous eminent monks and old Taoists of Divine Bridge Realm that had lost their lives, so there was a great loss in power for the monks. If not for this, how could Lin Yushu have retrieved the lands of Great Thunderclap Monastery? That yellow-faced monk didn't say much and hurried away. Lin Yushu looked at Qin Mu and said in a low voice, the monk left without even begging, so he must be going back to call reinforcements to find trouble with you. You have to be careful. Qin Mu shook his head. Don't worry, Rulai won't pay attention to him. The yellow-faced monk was as fast as lightning as he hurried back to Great Thunderclap Monastery. When he reached the Golden Peak, he saw that the place was solemn and respectful. All the abbots of the various cloisters were gathered at the moment. Some abbots were in sorrow and there were even teacher poor and the rest observing the ceremony. Old Rulai was currently hosting a huge ceremony and had taken off his kasaya and grass shoes. All the various treasures on his body were also taken off, and his body was relaxed. Monk Jingming stood behind him, quiet. This? The heart of the yellow-faced monk trembled violently, and old Rulai turned around to look at him with a smile. Junior brother Nan Yi, my time is near and I am now resigning from the position of Rulai. With my body free, I plan to go out for a walk, to quietly wait for the Great Awakening and Nirvana. After I achieve perfect awakening, Jingming will bring my corporeal body back and allow it to continue protecting Great Thunderclap Monastery and promote Buddhism. The heart of the yellow-faced monk was in grief, but it wasn't good for him to show it. Rulai is a realm, it cannot be pushed away nor returned. Old Rulai smiled. What I return is the revered one of the world of Great Thunderclap Monastery. Then who will succeed as Rulai? The yellow-faced monk Nanyi asked. Old Rulai pointed at the seat of revered one of the world and smiled. Whoever will become a Rulai will take this seat. Those that are not Rulai won't be able to sit there. Don't you worry, there will be a Rulai that will sit there. My Dao friend is here, I'm off. Nanyi still wanted to ask questions, but old Rulai walked away and went down the mountain. Nanyi was stunned as he looked at the seat of revered one of the world. Below the mountain, an old and a young Daoist were resting their legs next to the mountain gate. Dao Master, Daozi. Old Rulai and monk Jingming went forward to greet the two travelers. Daozi Lin Xian and old Dao Master hurriedly got up to return the greeting. Old Dao Master smiled. You're free. Old Rulai nodded and smiled. I'm free. Let us go. The two sect masters of the two biggest righteous sacred grounds looked at each other and smiled while saying in unison, you have also aged. Old Tao Master sighed. I want to take a look at Little Jade Capital. I heard there are immortals there that live freely and without worry. They are then people who have truly achieved the Tao. I will like to go to Great Ruins first, said Old Rulai. Old Tao Master took a glance at him. Even though you aren't revered one of the world anymore, you still can't let Great Thunderclap Monastery go. Aren't you the same as well? Old Rulai smiled. Since you've already resigned from the position of Tao Master, why are you still bringing little Tao Master along? Aren't you trying to groom him more before you leave to become an immortal? Old Tao Master sighed and said, we'll go to Great Ruins first. The four people walked toward Great Ruins. Not long after they left, the young master brought four maidens who were all wearing different colored dresses. They were also carrying different items, like a jade vase, a guqin, a sword, and a peeper, as they came to the mountain gate. They looked at the monk receiving them at the gate and said, young master Xu Shenghua from high heavens has come forth to visit. High heavens? The heart of the monk receiving them trembled, and he immediately went up the mountain to report. When he reached the top of the mountain, the expression of Monk Nan Yi and the rest changed drastically. They were all slightly flustered. What should we do now that people from high heavens have come? Rulai's position is now vacant, so who has the qualifications to receive the esteemed guests from high heavens? Don't panic first, Monk Nan Yi said. Let's invite this young master Xu Shenghua up first. No, we should all go and welcome him, don't forget your etiquette. All of the monks went down the mountain and saw a young master with four beauties standing at the mountain gate, all of whom looked extraordinary. Nanyi went forth and said, Amitabha. You are not Rulai? Xu Shenghua's gaze was like lightning when it landed on the monk's face while he shook his head. Rulai have no need to chant the names of Buddha. Where's Rulai? This, Monk Nanyi said. Revered one of the world has just resigned and there's no Rulai in Great Thunderclap Monastery today. Xu Shenghua turned around and left, leaving the crowd of monks behind him. The four maidens immediately went up, and Yu Liu in green asked, why does young master not want to go to Great Thunderclap Monastery? Xu Shenghua shook his head. Old Rulai resigned, yet there's no new Rulai, which means that he felt that none of the monks on the entire mountain were worth to be Rulai, so he just left like this. Since Rulai is not satisfied with the monks on his mountain, why should I go and see their abilities? Qing Ying smiled. So young master despises them. Young master, we saw the shamans of Roland's Golden Palace when we went there, yet we didn't see any figures worth seeing. Even their grandmaster was merely so, avoiding to meet young master and being cowardly before even fighting. This time, there also isn't any worthy person to meet in Great Thunderclap Monastery, so should we go to Dao Sect now? Xu Shenghua nodded and said, Dao Sect has 14 Dao swords, and my master said that Dao swords are very extraordinary. It's worth to take a look. They came to Mill Prefecture and went upstream Gold River. They found a ship and prepared to head down the river when they saw a youth measuring the depth of the river at its heart. The youth used his vital chi as a ruler. With a wave of his hand, trails of vital chi went straight into the river, and he would report the depth each time he did that. Beside him was an official recording the measurements with a brush. Xu Shenghua stopped the boat and looked at that youth as he stood quietly. The youth seemed to notice this and looked over at him, giving off a radiant smile that revealed his white teeth. This gave a pleasant feeling. Xu Shenghua felt his emotions influenced and smiled back in greeting. The hearts of the four girls beside him melted when they saw his smile. Young master actually smiled. Xu Shenghua saluted the youth in the river and asked, this senior brother, could we have a small chat on the ship? Please wait a moment, senior brother, let me finish handling the hydrographic surveys. Xu Shenghua waited for a moment, and when the youth had finished handling the hydrographic surveys, he boarded the ship and the two of them greeted each other before sitting down. I was measuring the water level just now and there's still some mud on me, please pardon me. Qin Mu examined this young master on the ship and felt that this person was someone from the mortal realm. He couldn't help sighing ruefully that even a man could be so charming. May I ask, where did senior brother come from? High heavens! Xu Shenghua examined Qin Mu and saw that this youth was very simple. His gaze was very pure and seemed to have no impurities at all, but there was also a wild and unruly air about him. Where did senior brother come from? Qin Mu thought for a moment, but couldn't recall any place called High Heavens, so decided that it had to be some hidden sacred ground. He replied, I'm from Disabled Elderly Village. Xu Shenghua had also not heard about the name Disabled Elderly Village and memorized this name while thinking to himself, could it be some hidden sacred ground? I saw senior brother sending out dozens of vital chi threads with just a wave of a hand, and that was very bizarre. It seemed like threads were being constructed from swords, which is very different from the usual method of refining chi into a thread. This confused me a bit. Xu Shenghua opened a tea bag to make tea, and the four maidens went to boil water. After waiting for a moment, they placed the tea leaves into the boiling water after it had been slightly cooled. Xu Shenghua covered the teapot and said, Your sword mastery is extraordinary. You sent dozens of vital chi threads into the water, and they all went straight to the bottom of the river. Each of the vital chi threads landed on the sand and didn't push even the speck of it away to go deeper, nor did they make any of the sand float. The strong current of the river also didn't have any impact on your vital chi thread. This kind of control is simply worthy of admiration. You have extremely high attainments in algebra, so could you have learned the sword techniques of Dao sect before? Qin Mu was astonished. Senior brother has good eyes. I have indeed learned the 14 writings of Dao sword before. Vital chi threads are hard to control as they have no weight, so to make the vital chi thread hang straight down I had indeed had to calculate it with algebra. What I used was the calculation of magnetic force to make them unmovable. Xu Shenghua was done with the tea and raised the teapot to pour Qin Mu a cup of tea while saying, to be able to control so many vital chi threads without applying any strength requires great knowledge and meticulousness down to the smallest detail. If you used this ability to control vital chi thread in controlling swords, your sword techniques would definitely be extremely terrifying, and I think that only the 14 writings of Dao sword would require such fine sword control techniques. Furthermore, your vital chi thread is different from others, using sword chi as a thread, making it a sort of a sword technique. Vital chi thread is the spiral sword form founded by Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor. Qin Mu was once again astonished and exclaimed in admiration, You're a clever one. It's my first time meeting someone like you who is able to see through my vital chi thread at first glance. Many people who were defeated by my hands had never realized it, so you're very extraordinary. Seems like High Heavens are very extraordinary as well. Xu Shenghua smiled. I saw through it by luck. To be able to teach a disciple like you, Disabled Elderly Village is then the extraordinary one. Come, have a taste of the green destiny tea from my High Heavens. Qin Mu took a whiff of the tea fragrance, then tasted a sip. It was slightly bitter and astringent when it first went into his mouth, but after that, the sweetness rushed forth endlessly into his taste buds, causing his saliva to excrete. The tea leaves of green destiny tea were also very beautiful, each of them looking like sharp feathers that floated at the top, bottom, and the middle of the cup. Good tea. Could you gift some to me? Qin Mu asked. Xu Shenghua hesitated, then said, I didn't bring much green destiny for this trip. Qin Mu smiled. I'll treat you to wine another day. Xu Shenghua's eyes lighted up, and he took out his bag of tea and gave half of its contents to Qin Mu with a smile. Deal. Where do I find you after I've settled my task? Qin Mu put away the bag of tea. The capital city, I'm a palace grandee there. When you're in the capital, you can find me at Imperial College. All right. After I'm done with my task, I'll go to Eternal Peace Capital City to find you for a drink. The two of them then used tea in place of wine to toast each other, and the two teacups collided with a clink. Qin Mu and Xu Shenghua seemed safe as ever, but their sleeves suddenly rose up, and the whooshing of wind came from behind them. The river surface suddenly rumbled, and the water exploded. The waves that were stirred up formed two lines upstream and downstream, only calming down after exploding dozens of times. The four maidens on the ship jumped in shock. Qin Mu and Xu Shenghua were having a good chat, so why did they suddenly clash with each other? Qin Mu revealed a hint of astonishment and looked Xu Shenghua deeply in the eyes. Xu Shenghua was also slightly astonished and lifted the teacup to place it by his mouth. After enjoying the fragrance of the tea, Xu Shenghua took the 7 strings guqin from Qin Ying's hands and played it leisurely, creating a lofty artistic mood. It was like a god beyond the 9 heavens was using the sound of guqin to express his true feelings. It was also like an invitation, calling guests from beyond the heavens. Qin Mu listened to it for a moment and praised, truly a lofty artistic mood that's out of this mortal world. However, I'm in this mortal world and can't jump out of it. Ling Yuxiu shouted over from the side of the river at that moment, the one that herds cows, come back quickly. Got it. Qin Mu shouted back as he turned around at her. He then rose with an apology. I've got many ordinary affairs to handle, so I won't disturb you anymore. I still have to check the irrigation works. Xu Shenghua rose to send him off. Affairs of the mortal world will only cause troubles in your heart. It would be better to go to high heavens for tranquility. Qin Mu jumped off the ship and smiled. You're too free and unfettered. I can't live such an idle life. I like to be busy. Remember to find me in the capital. I still owe you a drink. Xu Shenghua nodded, and his decorated pleasure ship floated down the river, sailing downstream. On the ship, Qin Ying came to the table, ready to take away the teacups, but Xu Shenghua stopped her. Don't touch them. Qin Ying was bewildered and immediately stopped. There were 2 teacups on the table. One had been used by Qin Mu and the other one by Xu Shenghua. Qin Mu's cup still had half a cup of tea remaining while Xu Shenghua's teacup was empty. Xu Shenghua told Yu Liu, use the jade vase to protect the table and not spoil our ship. Yu Liu immediately executed her vital qi, and the jade vase she was carrying flew up and fell with the mouth of the vase facing down. A light screen poured out from the jade vase and protected the table. Xu Shenghua blew at the table, and the 2 teacups suddenly exploded. Xu Shenghua's teacup exploded into pieces, numerous pieces shooting out in all directions, turning the table into fine powders. Meanwhile, the half cup of tea in Qin Mu's teacup suddenly turned into a bright light and split the cup in the center. It fell in 2 pieces, but it didn't shatter. Expert. Xu Shenghua had Yu Liu take away her jade vase and examined the broken pieces of the 2 teacups. With a grave expression, he said, this youth is about the same age as me, but his cultivation is actually stronger than mine. It's truly formidable. The divine arts practitioners from Middle-earth really can't be underestimated. He had touched cups with Qin Mu, and the 2 of them had taken that chance to clash once with each other. When their vital qi collided, their divine arts were hidden in that move. Xu Shenghua's vital qi was slightly suppressed by Qin Mu's vital qi. Since it was fierce and strong, the cup had exploded into pieces. However, Xu Shenghua was superior in divine arts and had focused his power in one line, so Qin Mu's cup was sliced in the center. Both of their methods were high level and had intercepted the power of each other's divine arts, making them remain in the cups. They had temporarily sealed the will and power of each other's divine arts, so the 2 cups were still complete when placed on the table. However, when an external force touched them, the will and power contained in them were activated. He is probably Daozi of Dao sect. Xu Shenghua looked upstream and praised, Dao sect is truly extraordinary. The future accomplishments of the current Daozi will be no small matters. Now that we saw Dao sect's Daozi, let's go to Little Jade Capital before finding the new human emperor. Grand Shaman said that this new human emperor is none other than the Heavenly Devil Cult Master, so we'll visit Heavenly Devil Cult at that time. On the river, Qin Mu ran over to help Ling Yuxiu, who was currently stabbing stakes in the dam. She asked, who was the person on the ship just now? Could he have evil intentions? I saw the divine arts of you 2 exploding on the surface of the river. Qin Mu smiled. We were just trying to test each other out. I'm very happy today, very happy. Ling Yuxiu flicked the stake at him and heard a trembling noise as she asked in bewilderment, what's made you so happy? I always thought there was only me who's an overlord body in this world. Qin Mu was excited and gripped his fists tightly. Looking at the decorated pleasure ship that was sailing downstream, he said, but today, I finally found another overlord body. If village chief knew about this, he would definitely be so happy that he would go crazy. There's a second overlord body in this world, so the old man will definitely be happy for me. Ling Yuxia was slightly muddle-headed and thought to herself, what overlord body? Qin Mu walked to and fro in excitement. I tested his cultivation just now and he was merely a line weaker than me, just one line. Sister, do you know? Even on the same realm, Imperial Preceptor's cultivation is a lot inferior to mine, yet this guy is only one line inferior. If this isn't overlord body, then what is overlord body? Ling Yuxiu stabbed another stake into the huge dam and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Imperial Preceptor is a saint that appears once every 500 years, how could his cultivation be weaker than yours on the same realm? Come and help me quickly, I can't finish all of these by myself. Everyone else has gone to make water wheels. Qin Mu immediately went forward to help, but he still couldn't contain the excitement in his heart. A second overlord body. Even though his cultivation is weaker than mine, his moves and divine arts are stronger than mine. As expected of the overlord body, Ling Yuxiu saw that he was preoccupied with his thoughts and was slightly angry. However, she was also happy for him in her heart. It was natural to be happy after finding someone similar to oneself. After a moment, Qin Mu finally calmed down, and his vital qi became sensible and linked up spirit embryo, 5 elements, and 6 directions. The operating speed became faster and faster, becoming more and more smooth and unhindered. Ling Yuxiu suddenly stopped and felt slight abnormalities in her surroundings. At this moment, the sound of water became clearer, and the chirping of birds seemed sweet-sounding. The fragrance of the flowers in the air, the smell of the green grass, and even all her senses became incomparably clear. She was slightly bewildered and looked at Qin Mu. He had a clear gaze and it met with hers. Ling Yuxiu was brought along by his gaze and suddenly entered a wonderful state which stirred her spirit embryo and soul. The two of them stood on the river dam and held hands, looking at each other with smiles. However, their bodies remained motionless. Their souls and spirit embryos flew out from their bodies and seemed to become incomparably vast. They went on a mental journey through the skies, traveling 1,000 miles. Ling Yuxiu saw that she was holding onto Qin Mu's hand as they flew high above and saw thousands of temples and monasteries on Mount Meru. They then entered North Pole and saw snow lotus herbs in the world of ice and snow. After that, they went to the South Sea and stepped onto the white clouds to observe the Jade Sea and blue sky. Later, they visited great ruins as well and saw layers and layers of divine light standing tall and upright among the boundless mountains. At this moment, they seemed to hear someone calling their names and instantly felt an invisible force of attraction coming over and pulling them back from 10,000 miles away. Swoosh! The souls of the two people returned to their bodies, and they realized that they were still standing on the river dam, smiling at each other. Ling Yuxiu's face turned slightly red, and she immediately let go of Qin Mu's hand. Beside them, Crown Prince Ling Yuxiu was looking at them with a stern face. Qin Mu reminisced about the feeling he had felt just now and said, Your Highness, I had just comprehended unity technique of 6 directions realm and suddenly went into a kind of wonderful state. My spirit embryo and soul had fused together and flew out of my body to roam the vast world. Does Your Highness knows what happened? Ling Yuxiu's body trembled violently, and he cried out, So fast? You have cultivated your primordial spirit. Primordial spirit? Qin Mu was slightly puzzled. He had perfected his unity technique on the 6 directions realm and entered comprehension. Then, he somehow brought Ling Yuxiu's soul and spirit embryo to fly out as well. Was this primordial spirit? Spirit and soul, spirit and soul. The first is spirit and the second is soul. Spirit means spirit embryo and soul means soul. When you succeed in cultivating a spirit embryo, the soul is formed. Ling Yuxiu was much higher than them in cultivation. Besides that, ever since Crown Prince Ling Yuxiu had died, Emperor Yangfeng came to value him more and appointed a new Grand Tutor, Grand Preceptor, and Grand Protector to teach him how to cultivate and how to manage the politics of the empire. Ling Yuxiu had also had quite plentiful gains lately and his cultivation had increased much faster than when he was in Imperial College. Now that he was already at the peak of 7 stars realm, he was more than capable to guide Qin Mu and Ling Yuxiu. Primordial spirit is formed when the soul attaches itself to the spirit embryo to form a god in the human body. Vital qi then transforms into primordial essence of the soul, which forms the primordial spirit. Other than giving birth to a spirit weapon in Six Directions realm, there's also the primordial spirit there. However, primordial spirit only matures after Six Directions realm enters celestial being realm, so it can roam to the ends of the world. Both of you have just entered Six Directions realm, so how could your primordial spirit come out of your body and roam the world? Qin Mu and Ling Yuxiu were at a loss. They didn't know what was happening, and their primordial spirits had just carelessly left their bodies to roam the world. Six Directions is heaven, earth, north, south, east, and west. It's also the fusion of the body and will and qi, qi and soul, soul and spirit, spirit and heaven, as well as heaven and earth. Only when this step is achieved are all the Six Directions reached. Ling Yuxiu pondered it, then said, after Six Directions, the soul and essence link up. With the primordial spirit and corporeal body as one, the primordial spirit can finally come out of the body. If you come out of your body without that, you might not be able to return to your corporeal body. How did you guys do it of all things? He was completely bewildered. Qin Mu and Ling Yuxiu looked at each other and shuddered. If they hadn't achieved the fusion of body, will, qi, soul, spirit, heaven, and earth, they might not have been able to find their corporeal bodies after their primordial spirits had come out of their bodies. We were having so much fun, but luckily elder brother was able to get here in time and call us back. Otherwise, our primordial spirits might not have been able to find our corporeal bodies. Ling Yuxiu felt fear at the ordeal. Roaming the world is a small matter. When you reach celestial being realm, you can roam the universe and witness the strange things in it. However, there's still a 7 stars realm in between. Ling Yuxiu threw this unexplainable matter to the back of his head and said, Imperial College teaches a lot in regards to Six Directions realm, you should go and listen to more lessons. Shan Yuxin has already completed the water wheel and is now heading to the manufacturing factory in Mill Prefecture to improve their craftsmanship. He wants to invite BEA. He wanted to say the word beast but caught himself and changed it. Great Cult Master Qin to head there as well. Qin Mu hesitated. This river dam. Dozens of imperial scholars came to the side of the river, and it was Chen Wanyun and the rest. Ling Yuxiu said, hand the river dam to them. This time the assistant minister plans to improve the craftsmanship of the manufacturing factory by forging some river suppression beasts, so he said you must come over. They headed to the manufacturing factory and met with Shan Yuxin, who had just come there with the people from Ministry of Works. Mill Prefecture had a lot of mountains and a lot of mines. The manufacturing factory was in charge of refining black gold and black iron. Qin Mu met up with Shan Yuxin and Shan Yuxin immediately greeted him. Refining treasures and forging weapons requires black gold and black iron, so His Majesty has long had the intention to construct a manufacturing factory in Mill Prefecture. However, Great Thunderclap Monastery had great power then, so he hesitated. But Great Thunderclap Monastery has suffered a great loss now, and His Majesty wants to take this chance to expand the manufacturing factory, thus we invite Cult Master to come forth and improve the boilers and the industrial arts of forging and pressing. Qin Mu nodded and said, that's easy. Ling Yuxiu went forward at that moment and said to Shan Yuxin, Assistant Minister, I've cultivated to Six Directions realm and forged my spirit weapon. Can I ask Assistant Minister to improve on it? When she was done, she took out her 9 dragons weapons. Shan Yuxin took it and smiled. Princess has a master by her side, so why are you asking me? Ling Yuxiu was bewildered, not knowing what master he meant. Cai Yunxiang also took out 1,000 silks and said, this is my 1,000 silk spirit weapon, can Hall Master Shan help me? Shan Yuxin took her 1,000 silks and examined the 2 spirit weapons. His face changed slightly, and he gently used them. He then saw the 2 forms of the spirit weapons change precipitously. The 9 dragons weapons instantly expanded and transformed into 9 flying dragons with incomparably vivid scales. On the other hand, 1,000 silks increased step by step, spreading open and folding up from time to time, doing it in an unpredictable manner. Fellow colleagues, come and take a look. Shan Yushin immediately summoned over the numerous officials of Ministry of Works. The assistant minister came forward and everyone observed the two spirit weapons and exclaimed endlessly. Assistant minister said, "Truly marvelous creations excelling nature, the forging skill is truly fantastic, supernatural." The people of Ministry of Works studied them for a while before Shan Yushin returned them back to Ling Yuxiu and Cai Yunxiang while saying, "Saintess, princess, these two spirit weapons were made by cult master, right?" Ling Yuxiu nodded. "The one that herds cows forged them for us in the sea." Shan Yushin revealed an expression of admiration and said, "Cult master's forging skill has already surpassed that of all of us in the Ministry of Works. We might be able to surpass cult master in terms of some techniques, but overall, we are inferior to him." Ling Yuxiu was stunned and cried out, "You can't make it better." "We can't make it better than cult master," Shan Yushin said. "I had just taken a look and already learned quite a lot from Princess and Saintess's spirit weapons. Both of your spirit weapons are already perfected and Ministry of Works can't improve them anymore." Cai Yunxiang was skeptical. Is Hall Master Shan giving him face because he is the cult master? Shan Yushin became solemn. Cult Master Qin's forging skills and techniques are close to God and close to Tao. Based on his techniques alone, no one in the world can surpass him. His forging methods are extremely intricate and I have never seen most of them nor even heard about them. The pill furnace of Incense Master Fan Yunxiao's ship was forged by Cult Master, and I was present at that time, gasping in amazement. His skills can be said to be number one in the world. The two girls stared with their eyes wide open, unable to say a word. Qin Mu immediately said humbly, "Assistant Minister praises me too much, I really don't deserve so much praise. I had merely learned how to forge, so I don't dare to claim myself to be the number one in the world." Ling Yuxiu and Cai Yunxiang blinked and looked at the cowherd boy of great ruins while thinking to themselves, "He always likes to brag but now he actually knows how to be humble, how rare." "I'm at most number 2 in the world," Qin Mu said humbly. "I'm inferior to Grandpa Mute from our village. Grandpa Mute is the best blacksmith in the villages around us, and when we go to the temple fair, his kitchen knives are always the first to be sold when placed with mine." Shan Yushin sighed. "Such a divine knife, I would also like to buy one back to study and treasure. Never would have I expect for them to be hidden in the fair of a small village. How I wish I could go back there and buy all of them. Cult Master, you can just teach us how to improve the manufacturing factory this time. Please." They grouped around Qin Mu like he was a revered leader and behind them was Ling Yuxiu, Cai Yunxiang, and the government minister. The four of them stood with their eyes wide open, slightly stunned. The government minister sighed and said, "Heavenly Devil Cult Master, the first Imperial Academician of Imperial College, the reputable divine physician Qin, and now the number 2 in the world in forging and refining treasures. This Imperial Academician sure is unrivaled. What other abilities does he have that people don't know about?" Ling Yuxiu suddenly thought of something and said, "His drawing skill is very good. He once gave me a painting and stamped it with runes. He said if he didn't do that, the me in the painting would come out and run away from the painting." Cai Yunxiang also recalled an event and said, "We were able to escape the hands of Long Jiaonan because of his paintings as well. He painted a storm on the sea and a ship breaking through the wind and waves, then the exact same storm appeared on the sea as well as the ship, ferrying us away." Ling Yuxiu looked at the government minister and asked, "Does Pavilion of Art Saint have these kinds of abilities?" The government minister shook his head. "The talents of Pavilion of Art Saint can only draw what they see. Their paintings have grace and those people have the skill, but I've never heard about any of their drawings coming to life. Heavenly Devil Cult Master is truly..." He shook his head and said, "Too surprising. How can a person have such high attainments in so many skills? Furthermore, he is still so humble. This kind of morality and conduct really make one sigh in admiration. Is the one that herds cows humble?" Ling Yuxiu was slightly puzzled. The one that herds cows was clearly very arrogant, giving off the appearance of, your father, is the number 2 in the world." Cai Yunxiang was also unwilling to accept it. Their sacred cult master was usually not matched with the word humble. When she wanted to challenge him, he would give off the appearance of, "You won't be able to beat me, go train more." He's already quite humble. The government minister sighed ruefully. If I had 10 or 20% of his skills, I would be bragging about being the number one in the world, yet he never proclaims it nor shows off. He will only say the truth when other people ask about it. He doesn't say he's the number one in the world, instead, he says he's the number two. I have never met such a humble person before. Ling Yushu was stunned. This heavenly devil cult master was out of his expectations. Such an outstanding youth, sister seems to be. He became worried if his sister would actually be a match for such an outstanding heavenly devil cult master. He then immediately shook his head. What am I thinking? That brat better not get close to my sister. They saw Qin Mu and the rest measuring the structure of the boilers. The officials of Ministry of Works were using all kinds of calculation tools to inspect everything while others were calculating. They were all so busy that they paid no attention to the group. After some time, everyone gathered around Qin Mu and saw him using vital qi to draw the blueprints. In the air, he drew the structure of the new boiler and the forging press machine. There were also a few blueprints of human-shaped machines. Other people immediately recorded them and went to get the required materials. The manufacturing factory was buzzing with activity, and deafening sounds of forging rang all the time. Qin Mu explained his forging techniques to the people beside him as he forged, and all the officials of Ministry of Works nodded repeatedly. After some time, Qin Mu finally created the first forging press machine. It was a human-shaped mechanism with 8 arms which had a large pill furnace on its chest. In it, the medicinal stones could be sent to activate the mechanism. The upper body of this human mechanism was a composite of smelted black gold and black copper which continuously flowed down its body. The black gold and black copper composite could flow to the hands to transform into a huge hammer or tools like steel drill or pliers. Furthermore, it had immense strength and could apply tens of thousands of pounds of pressure. The person controlling the pill furnace at the side would only feel slightly warm, which was more than bearable. By controlling the machine here, one could control its mechanism to forge the black gold and black copper into shape. The runes and mechanisms used here were very complicated, and Ling Yushu couldn't help being dumbstruck when he saw Shan Yushin and the rest actually recording what they learned into a few thick books. When they were piled together, they were almost half the height of a human. He went forward to flip through them and sighed in admiration. Within them were mostly runes transformed from divine arts. Qin Mu had applied common divine arts and spells into his forging, brilliantly exhibiting the application of what he had learned. Cult master is really worthy of the word sacred, is not like Li Qianxing, that evil person. Ling Yushu was deeply moved. When he saw Qin Mu resting to the side, he immediately went to him with a smile. Cult master, if I joined Heavenly Saint Cult, what position could you give me? Qin Mu raised his head with an astonished expression. Aren't you worried the Emperor might be fearful of you after you enter Heavenly Saint Cult? Ling Yushu was slightly excited. He has his Imperial Preceptor and I also need to have my Imperial Preceptor. If I ascend to the throne in the future, you will be my Imperial Preceptor Qin. Qin Mu rose and shook his head. Eternal peace is not my homeland. I'm a person of great ruins. Does your Highness still remember that? I'm a person abandoned by gods and can't be your Imperial Preceptor. Do you have the guts to go against the orders of gods and let the people of great ruins become your people as well? Ling Yushu was stunned. You are inferior to your father, he would dare to do that. Qin Mu patted his shoulder and walked toward Shan Yushin and the rest. He dares to face opprobrium and bring about his reform. The very first time he met me, he didn't see me as an abandoned person. You can only preserve the accomplishments of the previous generations and still feel that I'm an abandoned person of great ruins. Your Highness, if you had great ambitions like the Emperor, I would become your Imperial Preceptor. However, do you have them? Cold sweats ran down Ling Yushu's forehead when he thought of Emperor Yanfeng's words and actions. He knew he couldn't do it. It was not Ling Yushu who was no match for this man. It was him who was no match for an Imperial Preceptor like Qin Mu. This video will end here.